When you figured out that I'd uploaded this video, I feel like you had one of two thoughts before clicking on it. One of them being, Daz, it's late January. What the hell are you doing talking about the draft? And that's fair. I'm not going to argue with you. But there might be some of you that are thinking, Daz, you good-looking rooster. And first of all, thank you. Second of all, you're wrong, but I still appreciate the thought. But you also thought, Daz, it's late January, my friend. What's taking you so long to start talking about the draft? And you're my people. Everyone's my people. Welcome to the video. Like if you like the video. Subscribe to join the Daz Talks Footy family. We are so close at the time of recording to 2,500, which just blows my mind. So if you can go ahead and help contribute towards that, that would be awesome. But in this video, we're going to look at 5 players who I haven't really heard a whole lot about. Yes, I've heard them mentioned, maybe from time to time. A couple of these players that, up until about 3 days ago, didn't know they existed. So, as the research begins, as the draft cesspool starts to form at Daz HQ, I thought I'd take a look at some of the players I wanted to explore a bit further, and a couple that really do intrigue me. So if you're expecting to see Jagger Smith, Sid Draper, Finn O'Sullivan, Levi Ashcroft, the Camporelli brothers, Tyler Welsh, these guys, they're not here. Sorry, we're not talking about those guys. The race to the number 1 pick might be a video I do a little bit later, but these are 5 guys that aren't really being spoken about a lot and that I think is a good starting point for the 2024 AFL draft. So let's get into it. Got to be honest, I feel sorry for Sam already because he wears number 4 for Vic Country. He's good on the outside and can burst away from stoppage. Poor bastard's going to be called Dusty Jr. for the entire year, and Richmond fans are going to love it. People are going to think it's disrespectful towards Dusty. People are going to think it's way too much pressure to put on a young kid. I agree with all of it. But all he can do is have the best year possible. But clean on the outside are all the reports that I'm reading and hearing about, because I do like to talk to the people in the know this early, of course, in the year. Okay, his kicking mightn't be a strong point, but if you thought I was really anti putting kids down at 18 for what they can't do instead of celebrating what they can do, it's only going to apply even more to 17-year-olds. And the fact that draftees this year were born in 2006 makes me sad on the inside. So let's not talk about that, I think. But loves a goal, does Sammy. Oh boy, does he love a goal. And I think we put a little bit too much of an overration, if you will. Is that even a word? Who cares? It's a word now. On midfielders kicking goals. Because in the last 3 seasons, we've only had 5 individual players average 20 in a goal in a game. Not for the entire 3, as in an individual season. It's 5 different players. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. If they can kick one, it's handy. Midfielders kicking goals do help teams win premierships. Hello, Collingwood. Looking forward to seeing what Sammy can do. So let me get this straight. This young man is a Hawthorn Next Generation Academy kid. He's already bigger than Will Day, or taller than Will Day. Sold. Big-bodied mid. He's an aerialist, but the amount of control that he's got on the ground. Now, speaking of Will Day, in the player comparison, which I know I don't really like to do, but January, I think, is the 1 month, and February, potentially, where he can get away with it a little bit again as we introduce more and more draft content throughout the year. But this young man, in the air, as a tall midfielder, in the air, you can do anything. You know, Bont is an amazing player in the air. But if he couldn't do anything when the ball hits the ground, he wouldn't be in the comp, let alone one of the best players in the competition. It's all about how you can use your size in the air and on the ground. I think in the air is something that a guy like, say, Connor Nash, for example, can get a lot better at. There's a lot of Hawthorn comparisons in here. Apologies for that, but God, I'm pumped to see what this guy can do. I fell in love with Mateus Filippo for being over 190 centimetres and in the midfield, and I've got a feeling that Josh is going to be that man this year. Can't wait to see what this guy can do. And Hawthorn fans, look, we've built our midfield in the last few drafts, so if he's there at our pick, I mean, do you take another midfielder first? I don't know. But I'm going to enjoy the ride while I can. Saw this guy play when I was researching Lance Collard going into last year's draft, and he halved a 50-50 contest inside the forward 50 for Subiaco. When I heard the commentator say, oh, champion, and I thought, Wow, that word really has become overused in AFL commentary. Having a contest against a bigger opponent, so no qualm there. That's a good thing to do. The coach will love that. Teammates will love that. You're not letting the ball rebound out of your defensive 50. But champion? Really? Until I realised that that was his last name. But you find me a guy with a better name in this draft than Malachi Champion, and I will buy you a beer. And considering what they're about to cost in this goddamn forsaken rip-off of a country, you're going to send me broke, guys. I'd offer you a slab, but for crying out loud, I'll have to take out a mortgage on a home that I don't even own. So, I didn't expect this to become a beer tax rant. But anyway, we continue. In his last 10 Colts games, this young man did not go goalless, so his ability to threaten the scoreboard is key, and he laid 7 tackles in a Colts final. Tick, tick, tick. 17 disposals, 7 tackles, and 2 goals, 1 in his losing semi-final, unfortunately, for the Colts side. His tackle numbers are a little bit inconsistent, as you would expect for a small forward, but I think what he can do at his best is going to be really exciting to watch. There are 2 or 3 small forwards that I am pumped for, but I only wanted to include the one, and it has to be the guy with the best name, doesn't it? Surely. If this young man's nickname isn't Jason, I'll go he. And this is someone who has put up with the fact that his last name's Knight all his life. So, maybe don't come at me if you're going to defend Noah in a big way. But this kid is everything that I want in a tall defender. So, you guys will know if you watched any of my draft content last year, that the tall defenders that I really like and I really favour are those that can, on a fundamental level, play back shoulder and beat your opponent. Harris Andrews, Sam Taylor, I love these guys. It's also why I think guys like James Sicily, for example, we can't put in the key defender category because one-on-one, Sis can get caught out unless his opponent is significantly smaller than him. But if you put him up against Nick Larkey, Larkey's going to kick 6. Probably. You watch that first game in Tassie, Sis will have to play on him because Blank and Frost are injured and Larkey will kick 1 behind and I'll look like an absolute fool. But thrives when he's got a role, and I love a guy that can play back shoulder. It's what he can do. He's undersized for the ruck, but that's okay. But I do like the fact that his player profile has got ruck defender on it because this isn't the 70s anymore. How many ruckmen are resting behind the ball in a key position post? I do know that we have had some Brownlow medalists even be ruckmen that have gone a kick behind the ball. But let's be honest, it's not like they were standing next to the likes of Michael Roach and Gary Ablett Sr. and Peter Sumich and these guys, although I think Scotty Wind was the only ruckman that's won it since in the 90s period. The rest were the 70s, but, Peter McKenna, they weren't going and sitting next to those guys. I don't really think too many ruckmen were standing back shoulder to Peter Hudson and winning their Brownlows. Very much loose men in defence back then, but that's not Noah's go. But again, some scouts are going, he's got this to improve on, which I respect, but I like to look at what guys can do, and if you can play back shoulder, sold, I'm in. And another guy that I really like, but, call it 6 prospects if you like, even though I haven't got a graphic, unfortunately, for him, is Harry O'Farrell, is a guy who I'm looking forward to watching this year as well, although I couldn't find, pretty good footage to watch, and I like to watch a little bit of something if I can, just to see how much the scouting reports and the stuff that I get told by people of how accurate that is in forming my own opinions. I couldn't really do that for Harry, and that's why he's not the graphic or getting the bigger detail as some of these other players. But Noah, looking forward to seeing what you can do, young man. Spoke to someone recently who watched this guy play, and I asked him for a player comparison, and I am so sorry that there is so much Hawthorn coming up here, and a guy I trust really well, and he told me Josh Weddle. So his aggression off halfback is awesome. Now, of course, when you've got someone who is so aggressive off halfback, you think of your Josh Weddells. I also think of a guy like Adam Sard, for example, although Sard is a better field kick than Josh Weddle is, and I don't really think there's too many people that are going to disagree with that. But you're going to turn the ball over from time to time. You're going to get killed on turnover. But if you can make sure that you get 2 good bits out of it and only 1 bad bit for every 3 times you try something, you're going to be better off in the long run. And that's what this guy can do. He's a really nice intercept defender. His aerial work looks really solid as well. Nice hands. And I think a guy that we're going to hear more about, I think the longer the season goes on. And look, defenders, I love them. What can I say? I played there as a junior, and you know my theory. If you play a junior spot for a long time, they're the ones that you tend to watch as youngsters coming through at your preferred club. So there's just a little bit, guys, of some draft guys that you're not going to see on your basic, here are the 5 guys to watch. I might do a dissection on the early race for the number one pick, because there's about 7 guys, or 6 or 7 guys at this point, that are really fighting for that number one spot, which is a really nice change of pace, considering I can't really think of the last time there was a resounding fight for the number one pick. So looking forward to that. I hope you're looking forward to an amazing weekend. Enjoy it, however you choose to spend it. And I will see you on a Monday evening with another video, of which I should probably figure out what I'm going to do for that one. Might be another ranking. I might rank every club's key defenders. Might. But keep an eye out for that. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to join the Taz Talks Footy channel. Keep being wonderful. Look after yourselves. And I'll see you very soon.